Picture this. You're building the biggest, most incredible tower of blocks the world has ever seen. It's almost touching the ceiling. And suddenly, crash! Your little sister runs by, and your magnificent tower comes tumbling down. Inside, you're boiling. You want to scream, stomp your feet, maybe even cry from frustration. Sound familiar? But what if I told you that you have a superpower that can help you stay as calm as a wise Jedi master in those moments? Today, we're going to unlock an ancient secret from the Stoic philosophers that will teach you why you shouldn't sweat the small stuff. And trust me, it's much simpler than you think. Are you ready to learn how to manage your emotions instead of letting them manage you? I guarantee that after this video, you'll look at a broken toy or a losing game completely differently. Do you think anger is ever a useful emotion? Hit the comments right now and tell me yes or no. We'll check back in at the end of the video. Before we dive into the secrets of calmness, let's take a quick trip back in time. Imagine a world with no internet, no phones, not even electricity. Over 2,000 years ago, in ancient Greece and Rome, lived some incredibly smart people called the Stoics. They weren't just guys with big beards wearing robes. They were true mental superheroes. Emperors, generals, writers. They all studied Stoicism. They were asking the same questions we'd ask today. How can I be happy? How do I stop worrying about trivial things? How do I handle tough times? And they found the answers. The core idea of the Stoics is incredibly simple, yet absolutely brilliant. They realize that in life, there are things we can control and things we cannot control. And the entire secret to happiness and peace is learning to tell the difference and stopping ourselves from wasting energy on what's out of our control. Sounds like magic, right? But it's not magic. It's a mental workout, and it's something anyone can master, even you. Let's kick things off by focusing on the real villain, our anger. What exactly is it? Imagine your anger as a tiny, fiery dragon that lives inside you. When things are calm, he just sleeps peacefully in his cave, not bothering anyone. But the moment something small happens, maybe someone takes your favourite thing without asking, or mom tells you to clean your room when all you want to do is play, or you keep failing the same level in a video game, that little dragon wakes up immediately. He starts to growl, puff steam, and breathe fire. And suddenly, you become the dragon. Your face gets hot, your fists clench up, and all you want to do is scream and break things. The Stoics teach us that this dragon isn't actually you. It's just a reaction, an emotion. And the most powerful realization is that we get to decide whether to let it out or keep it contained. We are the masters of that dragon. Getting mad over small things is like trying to put out a campfire with gasoline. The more you rage because you spilled your juice, the worse your mood gets. Suddenly, your whole day is ruined just because of one tiny stain on your shirt, but you could have simply taken a breath and gone to change. That is the first step toward becoming a wise little Stoic, understanding that getting angry about small problems only makes those problems bigger. And now, here is the main Stoic secret, the one that will change everything. Remember this simple idea. Divide everything that happens into two baskets. In the first basket, we put what we can control. In the second, we put what we cannot control. What exactly can we control? Our thoughts, our words, our actions, and our attitude toward things. For example, you control whether you do your homework or not. You control whether you say thank you or stay silent. You can choose to get angry at a friend, or you can choose to try and understand them instead. This is all within your power. And what goes into the second basket? The weather. We can't order the rain to stop. The actions of other people. You can't force your friend to always want to play your favourite game. The past. You can't change what has already happened, like that bad grade you got yesterday. This is the golden rule of the Stoics. Only worry about and spend your energy on the first basket. Focus on what you can change. Everything in the second basket, you simply need to accept as a fact of life. Is it raining? Fine. I'll grab my umbrella and rain boots. My friend doesn't want to play? No problem. I'll find something else to do. This is a mental exercise that you must practice every single day. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you made plans to meet a friend at the park, but then they call and cancel because family showed up unexpectedly. What happens inside? First, hurt feelings, then pure frustration. How could they do that? They bailed on me. This day is ruined. That's when our inner rage monster wakes up. Now let's apply the 2 baskets rule. Can you control your friend's relatives showing up? No. That's completely outside your sphere of influence. That belongs firmly in the second basket. Can you force them to come hang out with you? Nope. That was their decision, their action. So what can you control? Your reaction to the situation. You can choose to be furious, sit at home, and resent the world. Or you can decide, bummer, but honestly, no big deal. Hey, now I have unexpected free time. I'll finally read that book I've been meaning to start, or maybe I'll work on that complicated model kit. See the difference? The external event, the cancellation, is identical, but the outcome is totally different. The first path leads to a ruined day. The second leads to peace, and maybe even something productive. The Stoics teach us to be the directors of our lives, not just spectators getting upset because the script didn't turn out how we wanted. Another powerful tool utilised by the Stoics is the ability to view things from a great height. They called this the view from above. Imagine you transform into a bird and fly way up, soaring high above your house. You see your city, then your country, and finally, our entire planet, a small blue marble floating in the vastness of space. Now, from this cosmic perspective, try to spot the problem that made you so angry. For instance, that video game you just lost. Where is that problem from the height of space? You can't even see it. It's just a tiny dot, a mere speck of dust on the cosmic scale. This technique helps us realise just how trivial many of our everyday anxieties really are. When your sibling ate your last piece of candy, it probably felt like a tragedy of epic proportions. But look at it from above, and you realise you won't even remember it in an hour. What about tomorrow? What about a year from now? This mental exercise instantly shrinks the problem down to its actual realistic size. And once you see how insignificant it truly is, getting angry about it seems frankly ridiculous. It's like an ant getting mad at a single grain of sand that fell in its path. The next time you feel yourself starting to boil over, just picture yourself as an eagle soaring in the sky and view the situation from that great height. The Stoics were masters at asking themselves the right questions, and one of the most powerful questions they used was simply this: is this really so terrible? When something unpleasant happens, our brain loves to exaggerate everything. Imagine you just broke your favourite mug. Your first thought is, oh, the horror! It's a disaster. That was my absolute favourite cup, and now everything is ruined. Emotions take over, and suddenly you're weeping over the shattered pieces. But let's pause right there and ask ourselves honestly, is this truly that terrible? What is the worst thing that actually happened? You no longer have that cup. Are you sad? Yes. Is it annoying? Absolutely. But is your life actually in danger? No. Has the world crumbled because of this? Of course not. Do you have other mugs? Probably. Can you buy a new one? Most likely, yes. When you start reasoning this way, you essentially deflate the problem. It stops being a massive, scary monster and shrinks back into a regular inconvenience that you can easily move past. This question helps you separate the facts from your emotions. Fact: the cup is broken. Emotion: this is the end of the world. The task of the budding Stoic is to focus on the fact and calmly figure out the next step. For example, carefully gather the pieces and throw them away. That's it. Problem solved. No drama, no tears. But what if I told you that every single setback is actually an opportunity in disguise? The Stoics believe that the obstacle in the path is the path itself. That sounds complicated, but it's really quite simple. Imagine you're building a sandcastle. and suddenly a large wave washes away one of the walls. Your first reaction is anger and disappointment. It's ruined. A Stoic, however, would look at it differently. Aha, the wall collapsed. Interesting. Now I don't just have to rebuild a wall, I can build a towering flagpole right here, or maybe dig a protective moat instead. Every problem is a training ground for our mind and our character. Lost a game of chess? Excellent. That's an immediate chance to analyse your mistakes and play smarter next time. Got a bad grade? It's not a catastrophe. It's a clear signal that you need to prepare better. Didn't make the team? That's your opportunity to train harder and get stronger, so they can't afford to overlook you next time. The great Stoic, Emperor Marcus Aurelius, said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that any difficulty can make us stronger, smarter and more resilient, provided we look at it from the right perspective. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Let's talk now about the things we have around us. Toys, gadgets, nice clothes. We often get incredibly upset when one of these items breaks or gets lost. Losing a favourite ball feels like a total tragedy. When your tablet cracks, you feel like screaming or crying your eyes out. The Stoics proposed a very interesting mental technique, which they called negative visualization. Don't be scared off by the word negative. It's actually an incredibly useful tool. The core idea is simply to sometimes imagine that you don't possess the things you currently have. Wake up in the morning and just for a second, picture a world where you don't have your comfortable bed. Or imagine all your favourite toys are gone. You could even imagine that your best friend moved to a different city far away. Why do this? So that later, when you open your eyes and see that everything is where it should be, your bed is there, the toys are on the shelf, and your friend replies to your text, you feel a huge rush of joy and gratitude just for having all these things. This technique teaches us to truly value what we have right now, instead of only mourning it once it's lost. When you understand that nothing in your life lasts forever, you start treating these objects with more perspective. If your ball gets lost, yes, you'll be disappointed, but it won't feel like the end of the world. Why? Because you were mentally prepared for that possibility. And most importantly, you will enjoy that ball so much more while you still have it. We often get upset with other people. Maybe your brother messed up your room. A classmate said something hurtful. Your parents wouldn't buy you that thing you wanted. We immediately assume they are doing it just to spite us. But the Stoics offer a piece of advice. Hold on. Don't jump to conclusions. Everyone acts according to what they believe is right in that moment. Your brother didn't scatter your stuff because he's evil and wanted to hurt you. He likely just didn't think because he's young. That classmate who said something mean, maybe they were having a terrible day themselves and didn't know how else to vent their feelings, and your parents didn't refuse to buy the toy because they don't love you. They probably had their reasons. Maybe they're saving up for something much more important. Stoicism teaches us empathy, the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and truly try to understand them. Before you get angry, ask yourself, why did they do that? What could be their underlying reason? You might realise there was no malice intended, and even if there was, that's their problem, not yours. Their anger is their fire-breathing dragon. Meanwhile, your own dragon can remain sound asleep. Your job is to control your reaction, not other people's actions. Forgiving and letting go of resentment isn't weakness, it is the true strength of a Stoic. Let's learn the simplest, yet most powerful Stoic technique, the pause. Imagine you have a magical pause button inside you, just like the one on a TV remote control. The moment something happens and you feel that little dragon of anger starting to wake up, hit that button. Do it mentally, just stop. Don't say a word, don't make a single move. Freeze for a few seconds. What does this pause give you? It creates a tiny gap between the external event, say a broken cup, and your immediate reaction, like shouting. And within that tiny space lies your superpower, the power of choice. In those few seconds, you have time to think, wait a minute, what just happened? The cup broke. Can I control this? No. It's already done. Should I shout and get angry? No, that won't bring the cup back, and it will only ruin everyone's mood. So what can I do? Calmly clean up the mess. Some people recommend using this pause to slowly count to 10. That is an excellent strategy. While you're counting, the initial wave of anger subsides, allowing you to think clearly. It's like weathering a storm. If you immediately rush into the raging waves, you'll be swept away. But if you wait on the shore for just a couple of minutes, the immediate squall will pass. Practice this pause constantly, even with the most trivial things. Can't tie your shoelace? Pause. Count to 10. Then try again. We often get angry, not because of the event itself, but because reality didn't meet our expectations. You expected an A on the test, but got a B. You hoped for a new gaming console for your birthday, but got a book instead. You looked forward to a sunny day, but it started raining. When reality fails to match the picture in your head, that mismatch triggers anger and deep disappointment. The Stoics teach us, the fewer rigid expectations you hold, the fewer reasons you have to be upset. This doesn't mean you shouldn't dream or aspire to anything. It simply means you must be prepared for any outcome. When studying for a major exam, you should aim for the A, but be mentally prepared for a B or even a C. This is known as mental flexibility. Imagine a tree. A mighty oak with its thick, rigid branches is likely to snap during a strong storm. But the thin, flexible willow will bend with the wind, and when the storm passes, it will stand tall again. It's the same with our expectations. If they are rigid like the oak's branches, any surprise will break them. If they are flexible like the willows, we can adapt to any situation. Hope for the best, but be ready for the worst. That way, you'll be delighted when things go well, and you won't be utterly devastated if life doesn't go according to plan. Here's another crucial lesson we can take from the Stoics, and it's all about our words. The words we speak to ourselves hold immense power. When things don't go your way, what are the first phrases that pop into your head? I'm a failure. I'll never succeed at anything. I'm stupid. These kinds of words are poison to our peace of mind. They only feed that raging inner dragon. The Stoics taught us to closely monitor our self-talk. Instead of beating yourself up, try talking to yourself the way you would talk to your best friend. If your friend dropped an ice cream cone, would you yell at them, "You clumsy idiot"? Of course not. You'd say, "Hey, no big deal, it happens. Want half of mine?" So why don't we offer ourselves the same courtesy? Instead of, "I'm a failure," try saying, "That didn't work this time. I'll try again and learn from my mistakes." Instead of, "I'm stupid," say, "This task is complicated. I need more time to figure out the details." By replacing those negative, harsh words with calm, constructive ones, you fundamentally change how you approach the problem. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become the person who actively solves the challenge. Your thoughts shape your emotions. If you want calmer emotions, you must choose calmer thoughts and words. Imagine that you are a fortress. High walls, sturdy gates, sentries posted on the towers. And outside? That is the entire world. Out there, it might be clear weather, or it might be a devastating hurricane. Friendly riders might approach your walls, or an invading army could show up. The Stoics teach that your primary duty is to be the excellent commander, the governor of your inner fortress, your mind. Whatever happens outside, rain, thunder, insults, or minor losses, it must never destroy your fortress from within. You decide whether or not to open the gates and let in anger and resentment. Instead, you can simply observe everything from your highest tower and tell yourself, "Yes, there is a storm raging outside, but inside my fortress, it is warm, dry, and secure. I am safe." This metaphor helps us understand that external events cannot truly harm us unless we allow them to. An insulting word thrown by someone is just a sound, a sequence of letters. It only becomes hurtful when we invite it into our fortress and begin to dwell on it. If we leave it outside the gate, it simply flies past, doing us no damage whatsoever. Your mind is your territory, and only you decide who or what gets to enter. People often mistake Stoicism for apathy or indifference. Some believe that becoming as Stoic means turning into a cold, insensitive robot who simply doesn't give a damn about anything, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Stoics never advocated for suppressing your feelings. Instead, they urged us to understand them. Anger, sadness, joy. These are natural warning signals, much like the lights on a car's dashboard. Anger might signal that a boundary has been crossed. Sadness indicates a loss. Joy means we've successfully reached a goal. The goal isn't to smash those indicator lights, it's to learn how to interpret them correctly. When you feel anger rising, don't beat yourself up about it. Instead, take a moment and ask, wait, I'm angry. Why? What exactly triggered this reaction? You don't just yell, I'm mad. You analyze the root cause. For instance, I'm angry because my sister took my tablet without asking. I feel that was unfair. Once you understand the cause, you can then respond rationally. Instead of yelling at your sister, you calmly tell her, please, the next time you need my stuff, ask for permission first. I don't appreciate it when you don't. That is emotional management in action. You haven't suppressed your anger, you've simply understood its signal and used it to constructively solve the problem. To be a Stoic is not to be emotionless, but to be profoundly attentive to your inner life. Let's talk about fairness, or perhaps justice. We often get angry because we feel the world is fundamentally unfair. We hear those phrases all the time. Why does he have that toy and I don't? That's not fair. Or, why did the teacher praise him and not me? That's unjust. We waste so much energy being angry about this perceived injustice. Stoics, however, view this differently. They teach us that everyone has their own path and their own circumstances. Instead of constantly checking what's on someone else's plate and getting mad because their slice is bigger, we should focus entirely on our own. The only things you can truly control are your own efforts and your own character. Do you feel it's unfair that your friend is better at soccer than you are? You could get angry and jealous, or you could go out and start training harder. You have complete control over how much you practice. Does it bother you that someone else has expensive clothes? Instead of getting upset, you could focus on developing qualities like kindness, intelligence, and honesty, traits that are far more valuable than any piece of clothing and which are entirely within your power. Stoicism teaches us to find our foundation and strength internally, not in the external world. Your worth isn't dependent on how many toys you own or how much praise you receive. Your real value lies in the person you choose to be, and ultimately, that is the fairest thing in the world. We all have people we look up to, our heroes. They might be fictional characters from books or movies, famous athletes, brilliant scientists, or just our loved ones, a parent, a grandparent. The Stoics suggest we use these heroes as a moral compass. When you find yourself in a tricky spot, ready to absolutely blow up with anger, just ask yourself this simple question. What would my hero do right now? Take Captain America, for example. What would he do if someone cut him off or shoved him while standing in line? Would he start yelling and spoiling for a fight? Highly unlikely. He would most likely address the situation calmly and politely. Or consider Hermione Granger. What if she failed a complicated spell the first time around? Would she freak out, tear her hair out and smash her wand? Absolutely not. She would head straight to the library, hit the books, and practice relentlessly until she nailed it. This simple exercise helps us step back from the immediate frustration, gain perspective, and choose a wiser, more dignified response. We essentially put on our hero's persona and begin to embody their best qualities. This allows us to rise above petty grievances and momentary anger, ensuring we act in a way that we can truly be proud of later. Choose a hero whose virtues you admire and make it a habit to seek their counsel in your mind. The source of much of our anger and anxiety often lies in worries about the future. We find ourselves asking, what if I bomb tomorrow's exam? What if a dog attacks me? What if I never actually learn to ride a bike? We start stressing over things that haven't even happened, things that realistically probably never will. Essentially, we exhaust all our energy fighting imaginary monsters. The Stoics teach us to live strictly in the here and now. The past is gone. There is nothing we can do to change it. The future hasn't arrived. We have no idea what it will hold. The only thing we truly possess is the present moment, and that is exactly where our focus must lie. If you are doing your homework, think only about the homework, not about tomorrow's pop quiz. If you're playing with friends, immerse yourself in the fun. Don't worry about having to go home soon. When you are fully absorbed in the present, your mind simply has no bandwidth left for pointless anxieties. It's like riding a bicycle. If you look down at your feet or too far ahead into the distance, you're likely to fall. You have to look straight in front of you. Life is the same way. Concentrate on what you are doing right now and do it well. As for future problems, you will cross that bridge when you get to it. And more often than not, you'll discover those problems aren't nearly as scary as you imagine them to be. Let's start by imagining that calmness is a muscle. And just like any muscle in your body, you have to train it consistently to make it strong. You wouldn't go to the gym one time and expect to become a bodybuilder overnight. In the same way, you can't read one book on Stoicism and instantly become the most peaceful person alive. It requires daily effort. Every minor inconvenience you face is essentially a workout machine for your calmness muscle. Spilled your coffee? That's training. Lost a board game? Training. Your sibling won't give up the TV remote? That's an excellent workout. Every single time you pause instead of immediately snapping, or step back to look at the situation from a higher perspective, you're flexing and growing that muscle. It'll be tough at first. Your old habits will try to drag you backward, straight towards shouting and frustration. But with every repetition, you'll get better and better. You could even start a little Stoics journal and write down one instance at the end of the day where you successfully maintained your cool. Maybe something like, I felt angry today because of X, but instead of yelling, I chose to Y. Reviewing those entries will clearly show you your progress and give you something to be truly proud of. Remember that even the greatest historical Stoics weren't perfect. They lost their temper sometimes too. The important thing is to never give up and keep putting in the reps every single day. Why bother with tranquility at all? Wouldn't it be better to just be fully emotional, to shout when you're angry, and laugh out loud when you're truly happy? The Stoics offer this reply. Serenity isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's the bedrock upon which genuine happiness and lasting success are built. When your mind is calm, like the smooth surface of a lake, you gain clarity and the ability to make sound decisions. But when anger takes hold, your mind becomes a turbulent, churning cauldron where everything is hopelessly jumbled. In that state of rage, you might lash out and say devastating things to your best friend, words you'll immediately regret. You might carelessly break something valuable. Most importantly, you lose all ability to focus on actually solving the underlying problem. The calm person, by contrast, sees the situation with perfect clarity. They can always find a viable solution where others see only a hopeless dead end. Calm individuals navigate relationships better because they don't snap or overreact to minor irritations. People genuinely enjoy being around them and naturally place their trust in them. Tranquility grants you profound inner strength and unwavering self-assurance. You stop being dependent on shifting external circumstances. Your mood stops bouncing up and down over every trivial matter. You genuinely become the master of your own life. And this, perhaps, is the greatest reward for all your dedicated practice. Let's tackle one more popular misunderstanding. Some people believe that if you don't get angry at injustice, you'll simply become a doormat that everyone walks all over. If someone insults you and you just stand there silently taking it, is that truly the right approach? Stoics teach us that calmness is not passivity, it is intelligent, considered action. If someone wrongs you, it doesn't mean you have to silently tolerate it. But screaming back is also a poor choice. That means dropping down to the level of the person who offended you. A Stoic will approach this differently. They will calmly, firmly, and confidently defend their boundaries. They won't retaliate with insults, but they will make it perfectly clear that this kind of behavior is unacceptable. For instance, they might say, "I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. Please stop." Or if someone tries to take their possession, they won't start a physical fight, but they certainly won't just hand it over. They will stand their ground firmly. That is the key difference. Anger is a weak, chaotic reaction, but calm confidence in your own position is true strength. A Stoic does not allow others to control their emotions, nor do they allow others to violate their rights. They act not out of spite or anger, but from a profound sense of self-respect, and that commands far more respect than any shouting ever could. And finally, here is the most important lesson of all. The entire philosophy of Stoicism for children boils down to one simple yet crucial idea. Your happiness doesn't depend on the toys you own, the weather outside, or how other people treat you. Your happiness depends only on one thing: your thoughts and your attitude toward what is happening. This is the superpower we mentioned earlier. It's always with you, right inside you. Nobody can ever take it away. You might lose a favourite toy, but no one can force you to be unhappy about it unless you decide to be. Others might try to hurt your feelings, but they can't make you suffer if you choose not to let that hurtful feeling into your fortress. When you truly grasp this, you become genuinely free. You stop being a slave to your emotions and to outside circumstances. You become the captain of your own ship, confidently sailing it through any storm. Always remember this. It doesn't matter what happens around you. What truly matters is what happens inside your head. And in there, you are the one in charge. You are a little Stoic, and that means you are a little superhero, armed with the power of reason and calmness. And just like that, step by step, we've unlocked the core secret of the ancient Stoics. It turns out you don't need to be an emperor or a famous philosopher just to stop getting frustrated by the little things. All you really need to do is remember a few simple principles. First, always distinguish between what you can control and what is beyond your influence, and only dedicate your energy to the former. Second, remember that any problem shrinks significantly when you look at it from a higher perspective, or simply ask yourself, is this truly so awful? And third, and most crucially, between any event and our reaction, there is a tiny pause. In that pause, we get to choose how we respond, whether we give in to anger or whether we remain composed. This ability to consciously choose your reaction, that is true freedom. That is your ultimate superpower. This skill, much like riding a bike, takes practice, but the more you train it, the stronger and happier you will become. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. I truly hope these ancient pieces of advice help both you and your children find tranquility in our often turbulent world. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our future deep dives and analyses. Now here is a question for you. What petty annoyance angered you most recently? And how would you react to it now using these Stoic techniques? Share your story in the comments below. Let's learn to master our calm together.